This is what I think. I think this is one of the heaviest decisions any human being ever had to face. And President Truman, he had to be in the middle of this. Like, I cannot imagine going through making the decision that you know will have a lot of collateral damage, but that based on the information that you have, you understanding this is the correct um, decision. And I think is actually inviting on your life a lot of pain as a president. Obviously, presidents are only a few in any country in the world throughout history. But each one has to face a situation that is incredibly hard that no one else has to face. And I think Truman was the man of the hour, having to face the heaviest situation, I think, in history, because he had to make a split decision. He had to make a very big decision that would change a lot of life. It would change a lot of nations at the same time. It will change the nature of war as well. And I think, regardless of whether he admits it was the correct one or not, or whether it was painful or not, I think it was very heavy on him to do. And I would not, I don't know what I would do personally.
Okay, like I'm on the fence on that one because in terms of war, I understand that the casualties were gonna be far less with the bomb
Right.
than if they actually met each other and actually fight. Because
Mhm.
Japan was known to fight to the last man.
Yeah.
But this is where I don't agree. You see, when they started this whole war, they were Americans planes, B-29s, sending like flyers to different cities telling them that something was coming, that they were gonna get bombs. But that's when they were just dropping regular bombs, not the little boy that they dropped. So they were sending all these flyers, and Hiroshima wasn't one of the cities that they were sending the flyers to. So this made people to believe that Hiroshima was saved. But you know why they did not want Hiroshima? Because they didn't want to ruin that
The element of
city.
surprise.
No, not the end of the surprise, but since they had already bombarded other cities, they wanted to spare it to see how much damage little boy was gonna cause. So they spared Hiroshima. They didn't tell Hiroshima anything. They were telling the other cities that they actually bombed with the little bombs. They were telling us, but they were saving that city. Not only because we all know that they were also making nuclear stuff right there, but they were also sparing it from damage to see how much damage little boy was gonna cause.
Even with the trying to understand the accuracy of the bomb, even trying to understand what happened, what they were trying to do was a strategy
Mm-hmm.
within the confinements of war. It's different because in this case they are in the middle of war and they're trying to figure out they're doing killing two birds with one stone. And even though it's very crude and hard to swallow, the primary objective is to detonate the bomb to stop the war. When we're thinking about war and specifically battling people that believe very different than you, they have a different culture, they have different ideals, they have a different background. Usually we measure who they are based on who we are. Japan, aside from being very imperialistic, they had a no surrender ethos or ideology or mentality that is very different to ours.
Yeah, and I
To
was reading that they United States noticed how Japan always fought to the last man.
there you go.
Like they were, it like they were one of those countries that, like you said, it was like they were not gonna surrender because they were just, and even with the battle that they had, if they didn't drop the bomb, the battle that was supposed to happen, I think it was like near the ocean or whatever.
Hmm.
They were assessing, how many people will die, and they realized that it was gonna be a lot of casualties because Japanese army will fight to the last man. It's not like they will retrieve and call it quits.
Yeah.
They will fight to whomever is standing instead.
Before we go, we want to recognize and to remember all the people that died during the war between America and Japan, and recognize that the bombing was incredibly difficult for the nation. But at the same time, I recognize and understand that Japan is an incredible country with an amazing culture that has now risen to the moment and has made life much better for its citizens. And it speaks about how resilient the Japanese culture is.